This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix. Tim Burton returns to stop-motion animation, this time in 3D and black and white, with Frankenweenie.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad
Show! Today in movies, we have just walked out of Walt Disney Studios here in lovely Burbank, California.
Beautiful, downtown Burbank.
Yep.
Having just seen Tim Burton's Frankenweenie. Long time coming for this feature film. It's based on a short he made in the early 80s.
1984.
1984, the early 80s.
Yeah.
And it's a stop-motion animated movie starring with voices of a lot of people that have starred in his movies prior to now, like from Winona Ryder to
Kathleen
Martin
O'Hara.
Landau, Catherine O'Hara.
I
And
said Kathleen,
it's
I think.
a take.
Catherine O'Hara.
It is a take on the Frankenstein story, but about a young boy being Victor Frankenstein and his dog that gets reanimated, Sparky. But it's done in the typical Tim Burton gothic whimsy style. And I would even say tonally it becomes more of a Gremlins or Monster Squad kind of movie rather than just the Frankenstein tale.
It's funny that this movie was conceived originally in the 80s because it feels like an 80s movie in a lot
Even
of
down
ways.
to a couple of the nods to the Goonies in the score that I was hearing, which is interesting.
Which is obviously longtime collaborator Danny Elfman.
The score, not Goonies though. But
No,
this,
right,
this
movie.
Yeah.
So, Jeff,
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
what did you think of? I think I've gone to you a lot.
Switchy doobies.
So I was like, I should go.
Switchy doobies.
What did you think of Frankenweenie?
It's interesting that we've had two stop-motion sort of Halloween / horror themed films released very close to one another.
Paranorman you're referring to?
Paranorman, which was great. I have to say I was much more excited going into Paranorman than I was for this. For some reason, even all the stuff we saw at Comic-Con, I never got really excited about seeing Frankenweenie. And I have to say, it really, really won me over. This is a fantastic movie. In fact, I think it might be the best Tim Burton movie in a long time. I haven't looked at his filmography.
Well, we didn't see Dark Shadows. That was the
We
last
didn't, but we
one,
heard bad things about it.
Right. Then it would be Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, which I didn't love.
And there was something between Dark Shadows and Alice in Wonderland.
Anyway.
Tim Burton?
Yeah,
Tim
I
Burton?
mean, we should have looked at his thing, but what I'm saying is, this really thoroughly, from start to finish, was a highly entertaining movie for me, and I couldn't help but compare it to Paranorman because we saw them back to back, and I was surprised at how different these movies feel in every way. And we compared Paranorman in a lot of ways to the Goonies and those kinds of movies, but while they both hearken to that sense of adventure and that childlike magic, they do so in very different ways, and they're very tonally different. And even the feeling of the stop motion is so vastly different. You know, I came out of that movie saying it felt almost like a CG animated movie, and it was so fluid and so precise. And this movie is so much different than that. This movie feels so much more to me like a live action film that just happens to be performed by puppets. And you never at any point forget that they're puppets. It's very puppeteered, you know, and it's rough around the edges in a lot of ways, and it's not as silky smooth as Paranorman was. But it has a charm all its own, and I mean, this is style, especially for the first third to first half of the movie. This is so much, it just oozes style over substance, but which sounds like a negative, but it really isn't a negative. The fact that I feel like there wasn't much substance means that it's playing on ideas we've seen many times. It's a not a parody, but an homage to movies you know, because almost like a fairy tale. But it's so clever in how it does that, and that's where the style takes over. The style with which it plays on the Frankenstein tale, and even like Godzilla and The Mummy and all these classic horror films, these classic monster movies, really. And the fact that the movie is black and white, going in, I was a little worried that wouldn't. It would distract or take away from the beauty of stop motion, and it really doesn't. It feels so right for this movie, and there's so many wonderful, funny little moments, and then by the end, when we're getting into high adventure and things are really larger than life, and yet we're still at every turn. You know, we get away from the Frankenstein movie template, and we're into other kinds of movies, and we're sending up, shots that are iconic that you remember from, midnight on basic television, like The Movie After Dark, and these classic shots
I
that
knew
you remember.
you were watching midnight movies in the 50s, but that's cool.
But but like I wasn't, but it's in the culture, My only tiny minor little gripe is that I was a little bummed that I don't understand the choice to reuse Martin Short and Catherine O'Hara over and over for voices. I felt that they could have cast other people, although the fact that there's literally a character that walked on screen and I was like, that looks like Burgermeister Meisterburger, and then he's like, hello, Mr. Meisterburger, and I was like, ah! So, anyways.
Yeah, I didn't actually pick up on the fact that they were using the same people over and over again at all.
Really?
So for me, I was like, until the credits rolled, I was like, oh, I didn't know there were 3 different people. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I think it's almost, it was almost getting into the movie Airplane, but about 50s monster movies, you know what I mean? Where it's really sort of like, not quite a send up, but sort of like, to be honest, it's more like Scream was, where it's like a movie sort of about, like, ha ha ha, monster movies from the 50s, and then a monster movie from the 50s happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's great. This movie has so much heart, and, anybody who owns a dog, the first half of this movie, or the first 20 pages of this movie, 20 minutes of this movie, it's tough. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's
like Up for Dogs.
It's like Up for Dogs, yeah. It's like Up for Dogs. This movie is like Up for Dogs.
The first half.
The first half, yeah.
Which is a parody band of Up With People.
Yeah, exactly. But it's great. I mean, it's great. It's hysterical at times, and it's just so weird. And I feel like with Tim Burton, you get this really weird vibe, and now it just got creepy.
Yeah, they like it.
Whoa!
Disney is like, shut them down.
You're shut them down. But sometimes Tim Burton in the live action stuff, like with Willy Wonka, where he gets really crazy, it's like, what? Why is that character being crazy? In this, every character is crazy.
Right.
Like when they show the kids in the class, everyone is crazier and crazier and crazier, and it works perfectly in this setting and in this story. And the story is adorable and sweet. And I mean, it's, the superhero is a Frankenstein dog. Like, that's just joy written all over it.
It's a love letter to all those old movies, but it's also sort of a love letter to science. And
it was great. It was great. It
feels very personal. It feels very autobiographical. And I feel like maybe that's where his career has diverged from in recent, when he's been doing a lot of these remakes and clearly movies he cares about a lot, but when he returns to the stuff that feels more like Edward Scissorhands or some of the earlier work, this has such heart and such his stamp on it.
Yeah.
It's I'll say again, one of his best movies in years.
And it's definitely a movie that if you're a parent, you can feel great taking your kid to, because the kids are going to like it.
I don't know, it seems scary, doesn't it?
Well, none of the
scary
kids
in a
were
fun
really
way.
freaking out. I mean, it was
Scary like Nightmare Before Christmas has those elements too.
I think it was scarier than Nightmare Before Christmas, but maybe I'm out of touch for what kids get scared by.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I agree with you that it's a great family entertainment.
Yeah, because I felt like it was written for me. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling every kid in there probably felt like it was written for them. So it's one of those movies that like figures out how to just make that thing where it feels like it's written for everybody, which is great.
Is it PG?
Probably.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a kid behind. There's a lot of kids in the theater when we saw it, and there was a kid behind us that was saying, "It's scary, Mama."
Well, in Paranorman, there were kids that walked out of the screening. I didn't hear any kids.
But those were
walking
just
out of
really
this.
opinionated kids.
They were. They were like, "F that."
Kid critics.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, zombies my ass."
Yawn.
Yeah, I'm getting more popcorn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Boom,
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie.
Yes, a really great surprise.
Yeah.
I just had a great time in it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this, but first, want to thank our sponsors.
Netflix is our sponsor, guys, with more than 26 million members.
A lot of members.
So many members.
They are the leading provider of internet subscriber-based movies and TV programs.
Just rolls off
Wow.
the tongue.
Just like
rolls right off.
Just as it was written.
Members can instantly watch thousands of titles on a vast array of devices like your Xbox 360, your PS3, your Wii, your Apple devices, your Kindle, your Nook. You had, of the thousands of titles you can watch, you had a recommendation.
Yes, unbelievable documentary. You should watch it if you haven't seen it. You should watch it if you haven't seen it. Mike should watch it if you haven't seen it. It's called Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to see that.
It is
I know someone that
unbelievable. It's
Does it make you hungry?
unbelievable.
Super hungry?
Makes you really hungry, but not only
Yeah.
that, it's his concept, because he's 85.
I thought it was Hero Dreams of Sushi.
And he's the.
It's
I like it.
J-I-R-O.
Hero.
Jiro.
That's okay. But he's like the world's greatest, supposedly the world's greatest sushi
He's
chef.
85. He still makes sushi. There are only 10 seats in his restaurant and a restroom.
Where is it?
It's in Japan.
You can eat it in the restroom?
And it's a 3 Michelin star sushi place. That doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
And the crazy thing is,
How
you
much does it
literally
say how much it
just-
costs?
Yeah, it's over $600 a plate. And the guy comes, a guy comes in and was like, do you guys, hey, do you have to have reservations? And the guy's like, yeah.
Yeah, 10 years
Because
ago.
it's like in a mall. And he was like, well, when? Like, how many? He was like, at least a month in advance, usually 2. And he was like, oh, okay. They memorize the order. It was, you just have to see it.
I can't
for
wait
the
to. I'm
fish.
really excited.
No.
I want to see it when I have a trip to Tokyo planned.
You would
At least a month in advance.
Seriously, Heather and I were like, we should just go to Tokyo because he's
I think-
85.
Yeah.
You're
time's
either gonna see this or not. But
I'm
it's
sure
so
someone
great.
gets past.
And you'll
the
love.
rest
There's
of
like
the
a
His
great
son, it's about his son, right? And
Well,
his son is not. It's kind of a
Oh,
screw
no.
up.
no.
We'll see.
You gotta watch.
watch
But it's
it.
got a lot of father
If only
son
there was
stuff.
some way to watch easily on any of my devices.
Instantly, all you need to do is click, and there it is. By the way,
Just like making
Netflix,
sushi.
If you just got the iPhone 5, Netflix app has just been enhanced for iPhone 5.
Enhances.
So, yeah, there's no late fees, no due dates to watch that thing that he just talked about. And as a new member and a TRS viewer, you can get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to netflix.com/TRS. Sign up. If you don't have Netflix, sign up, watch that thing. If you want to, you can cancel. You're not going to want to because there's a million other things to watch.
Bam.
So, boom.
But yeah, we will see you tomorrow.
Make it happen.
Join us tomorrow for our review of Taken 2.
Today's Twitter question
Is the best
is
Twitter
the best
question.
Twitter question we've ever received here. Sent in with the hashtag TRSQ from Tboa, or Tboda, at Tboda. If you were small enough to ride a fox,
On a Fox.
ride on a fox, excuse me, would you quit your job? And I think the obvious answer is yes.
I think
Oh my God, in a
I would
heartbeat.
probably get fired.
Well, do you know how much money?
quitting.
You know how much money you could make if you wear
Screw money.
small enough?
Screw money. You're riding on foxes all day long. Your life is a dream.
Well,
a
other than
fancy-free.
you're on a Fox avoiding people and elephants.
All these
and
foxes around people.
trees.
Elephants?
If, first off,
What do you
things.
think? You really need to educate yourself
Yeah,
about
well,
foxes
I'm
if you're
clearly-
planning
no,
to ride
the
them.
African plain fox.
Jeff. I'm clearly in the circus.
Fox.
I'm small enough to ride on a fox. I'm gonna be in the circus.
First off, you could steal so much money and awesome clothes.
Why would you need any of that? You can ride a
Why would you
fox.
need money?
All you need
for
is
fox fuel.
all you need is wind blowing through your hair and the fox's hair.
Also, food,
you don't
clothing.
Even, yeah, you don't need clothes if you're riding on a. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're gonna
If you're
bareback
be
a fox.
graceful,
Can you
Yeah.
imagine the bond that you would share with your fox?
With years,
When,
facts.
well, when he passes, though,
You get a new
then
fox.
your fox food.
Oh.
Would you sacrifice yourself to feed your fox? If he was
Well,
hungry?
years down the line, maybe. I mean, we've grown
Old
together for so
Foxy.
long.
Foxy the Gray.
Yeah, what would you name your fox? Silver. Silver.
Crazy
Hi
Leica.
ho, Silver. Fox.
so Crazy
Away.
Leica.
Crazy Leica. Oh my God. I would name mine Jamie. So I could call him Jamie Fox.
Nice.
Anyway.
And hang on, Michael J.
Michael J.
Dan would obviously name his 20th century.
Amazing. All right. Thank you
Twitter
so much,
question of all time.
T-Boda.
Just up the bar, people.